If I was your best friend, I'd want you around me all the time. Can I be your best friend if you promise that you'll be mine?
Hello, beautiful people.
Hello, beautiful people.
Welcome back to another episode of the Friend to Fiance podcast.
Welcome.
We are your gracious hosts. I am Jordan Tarzan.
And I am Jasmine Jane.
Yes. And we're happy to see you today.
Yes, we are.
How you feeling, beautiful?
I'm great. A little tired. Today was my first day of spin. And that thing is not for the faint. These quads on fire. But it was great. It was great. He's been challenging me to take up spin because your girl's a natural runner. I absolutely love running. However, my feet don't. So yeah, here we are. Shout out to the girls that spin because it ain't for the faint.
It's been a process, but I am proud of you that you finally found you a good class that you can get into.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And I go to the early one, right? 6:30 a.m. We in there. I'm at the gym by 5:45, but we in there. So yeah.
Boss. Huh. All right, so today our podcast is about character versus personality. Character versus personality.
That's so good. That's so good.
So the biggest difference in character versus personality is, and I would like to actually express it how I have it written here, is character is your true identity. Personality is an expression of identity. Meaning you can have a personality that expresses a different identity than the one you carry.
That's really good.
Maybe I'm going to say it again.
Yeah, say it again.
Character is your true identity.
So it's your who.
For sure. Personality is an expression of identity.
It's your what?
Meaning you can have a personality that expresses a different identity than the one you actually carry. So, I mean, we've all experienced people that acted a certain kind of way, but ended up a different kind of way.
Yeah.
So in other terms, like their personality was one way, but their character was another after you really got to know them.
For sure.
And one thing about personality versus character is if your character isn't identical to your personality, sooner or later, that personality will fade away and then that character will overpower it. So
it's your persona.
For sure. Yeah. That's so good. Yeah.
So my question for you, as we're talking about, character and personality, is I just want to give the people some background on you. Like, who is Jordan? Well, we know who you are today, right? But what we want to know is, who were you when I met you? And I say,
no, I'm sorry.
No, we want to know who is Jordan and what made him into the person that I met when I met him. And I'm referring to him as is that third person, him, right?
Sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe. But don't come for me, English teachers, okay? But I'm saying him because who he was is no longer who he is. So I can't say who you are because he's a completely different, a completely evolved version. So take us back, give us some background on what made Jordan into the person that I met, and essentially what were you in the middle of, when we met?
Well, when we specifically met, it was more so it was more so me diving deeper into my relationship with God as a young adult. So I think we met when I was 21?
You were 21 getting ready to turn 22.
Yeah. So around that time, I was just praying to God for new emotions. I got tired of waking up with the same emotions, like feeling betrayal, feeling like people didn't understand me.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Praying for new emotions. I don't think you've ever verbalized that to me in that way. This is why prayer is important and powerful to be specific with your prayer, because you prayed for new emotions, because many of us are controlled by our feelings, and many times our feelings lie to us.
Yeah.
So to pray, I hope that helps somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because that just helps me. Especially as women, we are very emotional beings, and many times we want for logic to supersede emotion, but it doesn't always pan out that way. So for you to say your prayer was different emotions, that just, you never verbalized that to me, because that just hit That's really good.
Well, I think the cool thing is, like, with us, and I've always mentioned it, is one thing I love about you so much is your ability to evolve.
Yeah.
But the challenge with that is, or the caveat to that is, a lot of times we don't remember these previous seasons or how we thought in the previous seasons because we evolved.
Yeah.
So I did mention it, so many seasons ago. However, you've evolved. Like, we've been through so many different seasons of evolution, though.
Yeah, we have.
So it's very easy to forget what was taking place in one season because we've been through a lot of seasons.
Yeah.
But it was so long ago. I mean,
Maybe
yeah, but we're talking so long ago, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure there was something else during that time that you were like, oh, that was great that you said, or, whatever.
For sure.
But just like we can hear a word, back then, and then hear a word now, and it just hit different.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But at the time, that's what I was doing. I was just praying for new emotions because I felt betrayal. I felt
I've been betrayed.
I felt lonely. I felt sad, like,
Yeah.
I just felt like I just felt like life was I just felt like people was
Yeah.
And if anybody out there feel me, like, just know and that's all I really wanted. And at the time, I really told God, I said, God, I don't even care if you're a turtle. Even though I always believed in Jesus, it was like, God, like, if you whoever you show me you are, that's who I'm after, and that's who I want to get to know.
Mm-hmm.
And he just expressed his love to me through my search, through other people, through scenarios, situations. And one thing that did for me was purify my intentions. No, I'm sorry. It purified my intentions, but it more so, he began to purify my awareness, because I think back then, for me, as far as personality versus character is, like, my personality was, I wanted to help people, and I loved on people, and that was partially my character as well. But I don't think that my awareness was pure enough and sharp enough for it to really match the extent of my personality at the time that I was portraying. So I thought I was more of who I am now back then, but through trials and through God revealing things to me, I realized how much more work I had to do to get to here, which I know that I have a lot more work to do to get to wherever else I'm going next. So for me, just to give a description, I've always been about helping people, loving, having fun. Okay. And it doesn't mean it was always like healthy fun. A lot of times, like, it doesn't matter what it was. We were just, me and my friends, we were like, not adrenaline junkies, but like, it was the life of the party. It was life of the party, life of the party, life of the party. And, during that time, while I was being that life of the party, I still had a love for people and I wanted to help people, but some of my ways wasn't so helpful. So I did end up damaging some people along the way. And that's that difference between that personality. And a lot of times our personality is who we think we are, and our character is who we actually are. So during those times, I just really, really, really had to think to myself, like, well, I have this one angle of me that I want to help people, but I have this other angle where some of my things that I think is helping people is actually backfiring and actually causing a negative effect on people. Mm-hmm. So I guess to sum up who I was at the time of us meeting was a man after a pure heart, a man seeking a pure heart. And even though my intentions were, my heart wasn't so much. And I was seeking how to become more pure hearted so that my actions would translate to what my personality was at the time, which was somebody who just wanted to help people and empower people and encourage people. And I did that, but I also failed at doing that quite a few times, and it backfired. Mm-hmm. And I believe that it's because my character wasn't yet
developed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you? When we met, who was Jasmine Jane? Even though,
I was, like, looking back, I didn't really know who I was. I just knew what I wanted to become. And so, like, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I just knew what I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
And so I just leaned into that. Shout out to my grandmother, Elaine Joyce Foster. You know,
Granny.
that woman was just like phenomenal.
Yeah.
And as I reflect on just how she imparted into my life in so many different ways, like, I have a greater level of appreciation for it that I wouldn't have been able to recognize, like, in those years.
Yeah.
So who was I? I was a woman after God's own heart. I was literally chasing after him because, you know how when they talk about the prodigal son, like, I mean, obviously there's prodigal daughters too,
Yeah,
you know? And
of course.
so I walked away from the church for a little bit, just because I felt like,
Walked away from going to church.
well, yeah, I walked away from going to church, and in a little way, I would say God, because I had to redevelop a relationship for myself. Like, I had to rediscover what it meant for Jasmine to have a relationship for Jasmine, and not just because she has a relationship, because her family, the family dynamic that she grew up in, she was taught to have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like riding their coattail and their belief system until I came to my own, point of just like, what's the word that I'm looking for? I don't know. Just like rediscovery. And it's just like, okay, Jasmine, who are you? Aside from everything that's been imparted into you, like, who are you?
Yeah.
And I literally just fell on my face before God, and I was just like, I want relationship. I don't want religion. Not to say that religion is bad. I just knew that the practiced way of belief that I saw and the intent behind it just did not match. It was a lot of hypocrisy. And so I was just like, y'all holler about God 24/7, but many of the things that y'all do and many of the ways in which y'all live are not aligning.
Yeah.
And so it turned
Keeping it real.
it turned me away from it. And so when I had the opportunity to rediscover a relationship for myself, I just went all in. And I, most recently I've been saying, like, pain is the bridge to intimacy.
Yeah.
And God will utilize that. And so for me, it was the pain of just failed expectation, from many parties, relationally. And so I just kind of just took that all to God. And I just wanted to recreate who I was with no ties, like, to anybody. I was like, God, like, this thing, it's just me and you. And so that's who I was. I was literally just a woman after God's own heart. I realized kind of how you talk about, like, character versus personality. Like, my character has always been, like, zero nonsense.
Yeah.
I've always known that, like, I love and I love strong. And so my friends aren't even friends. Like, we lock in, like, they're family.
Yeah.
I call them family. Like, if you my homegirl, you not just my homegirl. Like, I got the number to your mama's phone as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I refer to her as mama input.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing. It definitely is. But in
the middle of you seeking God, like, what do you think was the thing that really, like, what did you do to seek him when you said that you was trying to find a relationship with him? Like, what did that look like?
It was like I canceled out the noise.
Like what?
I canceled out the noise. Like, I wasn't entertaining. First of all, I just had so much going on that I didn't really have a lot of time for extracurriculars. And then I cut off access to any mail, because that was like a trigger. That was the one thing that could make me reverse, just because of my desire for relationship or seeking out something. Oftentimes, I think we had this conversation last night where I said, many times people try to be, or they look for what they didn't have.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even realize that. But once I realized that with God, I was just like, okay, you my everything, like, forget what everybody else got going on. You my everything. And it takes so much intentionality and focus and just dedication to walk that faith walk.
Yeah.
It's just like, I can't afford to be distracted by my flesh. And I knew that.
Yeah.
And I knew that because I'd been distracted many times before. And I've seen, like I said, when I revert back to the hypocrisy, I saw what people who knew God and loved God, right, but who were still battling in their own ways, which I didn't realize. People still have their struggles.
When you say that you're doing, like, that you basically kept away from guys or shut off men, like, how did you shut off men?
I just didn't entertain anybody. Like I said, one, I just didn't have the time.
Like what? When it was texting you or you didn't reach back out? Like what? Like what did that look like?
Well, for a minute, I was like, yo, God, like, what's going on? Like, am I ugly? Am I crazy? Because when I say, like, when I submitted my full, it's like when I submitted my full attention to God, that he like incubated me.
Yeah.
So like there wasn't even an opportunity for me to entertain anybody because wasn't nobody checking for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it had literally, in that season when we met, I had literally prayed to God, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on, Lord. I mean, I know it's me and you know, but like ain't nobody checking for the kid. So I'm just like, I mean, did I turn into Shrek? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
You know, and I had just prayed to God, and I was just like, you know what, God, like this is cool, because I was graduating with my master's, and it's around that time you're really just trying to figure out, okay, like what's next? Like what does life look like next? And I was like, well, you know, I guess, you know, I'll be a single parent. I was like, I'll adopt some kids because I don't want to have children out of wedlock, and that was the plan up until I met you. So.
Yeah. And it wasn't even that period that you're talking about. It was kind of just like an aggressive period, because I remember us talking about it. It wasn't like it was a super long period that you was referring to.
Yeah, it was maybe like a 2-year period. I mean, but I had so much going on that like it felt like this.
Wait, what did you have going on during that time?
Like that was the time in which I met you, that I was in school. I was a full-time student, full-time graduate student, full-time cadet to commission, full-time. I had a full-time job, you know, and then at some point I had, you know, a full-time internship. Like I had a lot going on.
So military, internship, getting her master's in school, you know, and she was also a part of a sorority, and then, you know, whatever friend group or engagement that she had there, or whatever family that she had there. So when you say like nobody was checking for you, it's two things. It's like, one, I know what you mean, because
let me say men. Like no man was checking for me.
I mean, what else were were you? You said that to clear up what?
Well, you
that
said,
women were checking for you.
I'm just it's 2023. We got to bring clarity.
But I'm just saying. No, what? But so were you saying women were checking for you?
No.
So why are you clearing that up? What are you clearing up?
I'm just saying,
what are you saying?
Because you talked about all of that, and I'm just like.
Well, you didn't let me finish my statement.
Sorry,
so that didn't make you more clear. That made it more confusing.
I'm sorry.
No, but it's all good, because when you said that no one was checking for you, it's two things. One, I feel you, because what happens is, and I've experienced it myself, when you start really giving your all to God, you start, like, the things that normally attract people, you're not giving it off. So therefore it's not this level of attraction or thirst for this level of energy that's normally given off when you're looking to be attractive to somebody or looking to attract somebody, you know. So that's that one part that I do feel you. But also the second part is how busy you were, to where your busyness kind of kept you protected in addition, you know, to that, because you had so much going on.
Oh, and I forgot that's when I was, you know, the whole learning how to trade. I just had so much going on. Like it was.
Yeah. Because I just one reason, even me thinking that and me thinking about that is like, you know, it's not like the first thing I don't want anybody to think like, it was like, oh, okay, well, it was easy because like God pushed all these people away from you, but I'm still dealing with my ex coming back or whatever, XYZ. And it's like, it's not like, oh, it became easier because you didn't have these people attracted to you. What happened is that you were doing things that didn't put you in the arena to be around these people that would be attracted to you.
Yeah.
You know, more so. So I just wanted to, you know, even clarify that, because even the smallest thing, we'll try to look for things in our mind to just disqualify us from certain wisdom, you know. And here, what we want to really do is let you guys know that like we're only sharing what we know that can be lived out by each and every person. You know, we're only sharing what we know that God has called us to share with each and every person that actually gets the message, to know that this experience, friend to fiance, isn't just about us. No. You know, this is what I truly believe he's called all of us to. And will we all make it to that? No. But is there something we can all learn from that? Yes. So that's really cool. Really dope. Yeah. Was marriage something you desired?
No.
Like, okay, you say no, but was it was it something? I mean, nah, nah. But was it something that you didn't desire, or was it something that you didn't think about, or was it something that you was jaded about? Like, let's actually clear. Like, what is it?
It wasn't even on my radar. Like, I was so fixated on, like, I knew there was a level of life that I wanted to experience. And one, everybody that was in my sphere of influence that, like, I know, whether personally or family, friends, you name it, nobody had a marriage that I wanted to emulate. And so, like, I wasn't one of those little girls that had, like, written down her whole fantasy wedding, had everything planned out. That was not me. I had a career plan. I was like, okay, we gonna do this, 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 and this. Like, I had a, I just had career aspirations. I knew that I wanted to travel the world. I knew that I wanted to be financially free. Like, and I was willing to do whatever I needed to do within ethical and moral reasoning, right? To make sure that manifested. And a man was just not a part of that equation. And it could be because, like, my mom and both of my grandmothers were strong single women. And so, like, I was just I had this preconceived notion and, like, this, I guess, pre-wiring, if you will, to get it yourself.
Yeah.
Get it yourself. So I wasn't looking to a man for any kind of assistance, any kind of help. And my experience with men was just it was just a repetition of failed expectations. So there was no way that I was going to give anybody, voluntarily give them any room to, like, deter the one thing that I was after, which was something that was dear to me, because I just, like, I don't like the word no. And
what was you after? You said something that was dear to you.
Just being able to like, there was this
do what you want when you want.
Yeah, that, but then there was also just, like, this level of self-efficacy that I was looking for. Like, in my family, and we talk about this all the time, it's, like, multifaceted. But one of the things that I still struggle with is that, like, if it's not quantified, then how do I measure it? You know, like, it's everything. It's in your family, you're very much accepted and praised for who you are. Right, but with mine, it's what you are. Like, what are your accomplishments? What have you done for yourself? What do you have to show for yourself? And so I was like, nobody's going to be able to tell me that I failed them. Nobody, or I failed their expectation. Nobody is going to be able to tell me that I didn't amount to anything. Nobody's going to be able to tell me. And then, like, just the word no, like, as a child, like, just hearing that from certain people, again, failed expectation. I was like, nobody will ever be able to tell me no, including a man. Why? Because I got it myself.
No.
So now you can tell me that, right? And I can laugh and I can smile, and I'm like, all right, God, because this your son. I give everything to God. I'm like, God, that's your son. He told me no. That's okay, but you're gonna tell me yes, and you're gonna help. You're gonna rewire, you know, whatever is making him say no. You're gonna turn that NO to a YES, and I'm still gonna get what I want. Because favor ain't fair.
That's right.
But seriously, no, it just wasn't on my radar. One, I hadn't seen it done in a healthy manner. Two, I hadn't seen it done in a fruitful manner. And three, there was just so much life that there were things that I had to prove to myself.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And then you feel like, so you said it wasn't on your radar. All right. I mean, you said that. So, I mean, that's just it in a nutshell. It wasn't on your radar.
No.
For sure. I understand. No. But you did. So what's your famous quote that you always say, like, when you were like, okay, I did it my way, if this is all that I have to give to myself?
I eventually realized that, like, I mean, granted, every woman wants security, right? But if money is the only thing that I have, then what do I really have?
Last attempt at a relationship. After that, you told me about this prayer that you were talking to God. It's like, yo, you're gonna have to do it, because if this is all that, you know, because what I'm doing for myself isn't enough. I don't know how you phrased it.
I told God, I said, God, you gonna have to send the next one. I said, because I've seen what I can do for me, and it's not a whole lot, you know. And that's no shade, no nothing. But again, like, I didn't realize that, first of all, like, when you got, oh God, this I'm just trying to, like, make sure that I express myself correctly. But, like, so I was looking for something that I didn't get, right? And I didn't realize that. And so, you know how they say, like, hurt people.
Yeah.
And I feel like us as women, again, some of us can have like that savior mentality, you know, like I can help you, I can fix you, I can work through whatever with you, and that's not our job.
Yeah.
And instead of actually helping that person, right, and instead of them helping you, you're actually hurting each other, right? Because there's things that you're trying to give that they can't accept because they don't even realize the level of their traumas and aren't in a place to undergo the healing, and probably the same thing for yourself. So it's like I said, it's no shot, no jade to anybody. But what I realized was like, whoa, like I am choosing wrong. Like I don't know how to choose healthy.
Yeah.
You know? And so I was like, God, I didn't. And I was like, because I was choosing from what I didn't have. I was accepting from what I didn't have. Like, because I didn't choose it, you know, but I was accepting from what I didn't have and making excuses for myself that, okay, like, because again, like we have women, we are nurturers, we're incubators, and so we're just always looking for ways to like grow, you know, we're always not necessarily grow, but we're always looking for ways to help, because our job is to be the perfect helper.
And you know, that's true. And
Like
you said that this is all, Lord, you're going to have to send the next one because I seen what I can do for myself, and it's not a lot, and it's not working.
It wasn't.
And you know, it's the craziest thing is that not enough of us have that conversation
with yourself,
with ourselves first. You know, that honesty.
But you know what it really was? It was, and don't judge me, I told you this before, but I'm gonna say it on camera.
I'm judging you.
Okay, fine. Y'all don't judge me, right? But every woman know that there is a certain level of crazy within her, right? And I just knew that I didn't want to meet her. So when I say I wasn't choosing healthy, I wasn't choosing healthy in a multitude of areas, right? Like I was being triggered in ways that had me reacting in ways that were unhealthy. And so once I realized that I was on, it's a thin line between love and hate. And so once I realized that I was on that brink, I was like, whoa, Jazz, you got to get a hold on yourself. Like, this ain't it. Like, this ain't it. And that truly showed me that, like, when you are not with your person, right? And I didn't even know that my person existed. And now that I've been able to meet him and do life with him, it's been a blessing. And I'm just like, I have a whole new perspective. But it truly is a thin line between love and hate. And so every woman is shoe, every man got that level of, we all one decision away from a homicide when you with the wrong person. And I realized that, and I said, God, you got to send the next one because I'm done.
No, but you know, you're scaring me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But on a serious note, like that's so good because again, we don't usually think about the fact that I choose wrong. Yeah. I am choosing wrong. My picker is off. My awareness is off. My understanding of what I need is off. Yeah. My understanding of how to get it is off. Yeah. And we don't usually think like that. You know, we usually just what we like to do is choose wrong, make a reason or excuse why what we chose was really tricking us, and then choose wrong again. It's
accountability. Like, again, you say this all the time, like, you know, women lack accountability, men lack responsibility. Like, women, we really do lack accountability, but when you hold that mirror up to yourself, it's like, yo, I got to get it in check because I became scared. I began to lack confidence in my own decisions, like with God. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was still just doing life my way and leaning into my thoughts, right, and following my patterns and my logic, okay, of course it's gonna make sense because it's me. But the moment that I submitted my life to God and I was just like when they say that He will renew, like your thinking, He will renew your thinking. Like I was literally able to identify errors in my thinking, and I was like, whoa. And I would just say things just like, because I know what's coming from Him, it's not coming from me, and
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's really good. That's really good. So for me, I feel like marriage. I never.
Let me ask the question.
It's fine.
It's my turn.
You didn't.
It's my turn. So it's my turn. So was marriage something that you desired? Why or why not?
I didn't think about it, honestly. I didn't think too much about it. A past thought of mine was I'm going to end up getting stuck with the same type of person that different people in my family or different friends that I've seen got stuck with. So you know how it's like
The person you couldn't shake.
yeah, that person that you couldn't shake. So a lot of people end up being married or having kids by just that person that they couldn't shake.
Yeah.
Literally. I know it's this, girl right now, and me and my homie was having a conversation about her, and she was just about to break up with this guy, and this will go for so many different people, but she was just about to break up with this guy and just completely focus on her relationship with God, and then boom, she got pregnant. And it's always that one more time, or it's always that, in anything that gets us caught up. Yep. However, I thought that was going to be me. I thought that I was just going to end up in a situation where I'm just stuck with that person that I couldn't shake, with a person that I couldn't shake. And and I was actually pretty worried about that, right? However, what ended up happening was, I believe it's through that process of God clearing and cleaning my perspective and my heart and my character that it got to a point where he revealed this to me. And I promise you, it wasn't like through like this specific message, or it was literally just through me like seeking out God's character, literally. And throughout learning what God's character was, by being open to whatever he was showing me in the purest form, right? Like no bias, no like, oh, this over that, or religion or whatever, like just genuine, like I'm open. And what he ended up showing me was just this understanding of, hey, your next person should be the person I pick for you. And it was like, so right now, I want all of your attention to prepare you to become the person that I'm going to pick for you. I need all of your attention to prepare you to become the person that I'm going to send to you. Right? So it's not necessarily, oh, I need all your attention to prepare you for who I'm going to give you. I need all your attention to prepare you to become the person that I'm going to give you.
Yeah. Because you have to become
what you ultimately want to attract. And, we had this conversation where, Jazz was like, I don't think that you can become a soulmate. I think that either you are one or you aren't. Right. And the nuance of the angle of the context of the conversation that we're talking about, we can kind of go down that route. But for the context of the conversation that we're talking about here right now is God wants to build you into that soulmate, into that person that is qualified for that other identical person.
And only he can do that, because we are completely different people without him.
And limited.
Like I am not your soulmate without God.
Yeah, same here. Ooh, I felt that in my bones.
Like 100%. Like I am not your soulmate without God.
Oh my God.
And it's convicting. It's like just
oh my God. What happened to Virgil?
Shut up. Like listening to you, rest in peace. Listening to you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead for real. Keep going.
Listening to you, I literally felt convicted. Because I was like, whoa, like, because individually we are selfish people. Like, people are selfish.
Yeah.
We are selfish. And so, like, many of the sacrifices and many of the compromises that I have to make as a wife, if I was not your soulmate, heavy on to get somebody else to do it.
Yeah, no, that's so good. Because honestly, I think I would be a charisma junkie and you would be a work junkie.
Yeah.
Achievement junkie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm for the women, so like, I got y'all, but not in the way in which I got y'all now.
Yeah.
And it's only because of how, like, because I'm submitting to somebody else's leadership. Like, you always are going to need the leadership of a male, right? And so because I'm subjected to your leadership, and because you submit to something higher than yourself, it all works. But if neither of us submitted to him, boy, I came in like a wrecking ball.
Doom, doom. No, for sure. And I think that regardless, us as men, as humans, men and women, will always need that. Will always need the nurturing of a woman. And a lot of times people feel like, oh well, leading is subjective things, but leading is going first. Leading is being willing to figure it out Leading is not settling for I don't know.
Yeah.
Leading is
That's a good one. Not settling for I don't know.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
good one.
yeah. That's what
You
leading
don't get
is.
that luxury
Yeah,
as a leader.
yeah. As a leader, you don't get that luxury.
Yeah.
So it's just it's all really each role. No role is more significant than the other. Both are equally significant in their own ways. Both come with their own damages in their own ways, because a man can burn a house down that he lives in, and a woman can burn that house down. The man can build it up, or he can burn it down. That woman can build it up, or that woman can burn it down. Because I tell you what, like, we can go through these different power dynamics, but it's really just more so about being the man that God has called you to be, or being the woman that God has called you to be, you know, being the person that God has called you to be. Because anything other than that, it's only a means to an end, or it's a limited win.
Yeah, literally.
Ooh, a limited win.
A limited win. That's good. So you just said that you felt like you were in a relationship that with a person that you felt like you could never shake. So tell us about, like, what were some of your behaviors, or what were some of your patterns while you were in that relationship? Because that's your longest, or just what were you like? What were you like in any relationship? But because you were specifically talking about that one, and that has been your longest, like, what were some of your patterns and your behaviors?
Well,
let me finish. And what did you learn?
I actually said, you know, I just felt like that I would be, you know, one of those people that would be stuck with that person that they couldn't shake. I didn't really necessarily say that I was in a relationship with a person that I couldn't shake. However, I was. You know, I was, you know what I mean? I was in a relationship and with a great person. But we obviously, like, I feel like this. We'll just go ahead and get into it. I feel like at that time with that person, I was with my human mate. And I know it can be right, and it could be like nuances to it all, but and what I mean by that is, and not my soulmate. So what I mean by that is that that's that thing that you can't shake, right? You've bonded, not necessarily for all the wrong reasons, but just not all the right reasons either. You know, and now you've built this camaraderie, you built this partnership, you've built this identity, these memories, this connection, but the actual relationship itself doesn't work, you know, and it isn't edifying, and it isn't healthy. And that is what I was experiencing. And I knew the soul of it wasn't healthy. The core of it wasn't healthy. The character of it wasn't healthy. And I think during that time, like, I mean, I don't know. I guess how I was exactly what I mentioned. It's just like I was seeking God, or to be better with God, or, you know, or to understand him or learn him more. At the same time, I just wasn't there yet, though. You know what I mean? I just wasn't there yet. And I was just experiencing all the things that just came with not being there yet. And some of those things were just bad choices, you know, bad choices that I think they will work out one way, end up working out another way, just winging it. And it just came with just, I mean, it's so broad, but just to make it as specific as I can is that, like, I was winging it with my actions, with my relationship.
And most of us are. I mean, like you don't got to wing a friendship. Right, because I get to accept whatever version of you that you are in that moment, and I choose it. Right, I choose to be your friend, and so like there's nothing but growth. Whereas in a relationship, we're constantly trying to present our most polished selves to each other. That, like, it's like you said. So we're making all these wrong choices or unfavorable choices. Just because it's like I'm scared for you to watch me grow, because I might not make all the right decisions, and because I might hit a wall of failed expectation, you know, like.
I say, like, you know, like when you're making like cookies from scratch, you know, the little cookie stencil,
the cutter.
The cookie stencil, like where it's like a gingerbread man, and then you can like push it down on it, and then of the gingerbread man, right? So I mean, ain't nobody like who knows. It's a stencil, and either way though, it's a stencil, and of the gingerbread man stencil, and it's like when we're doing this whole relationship thing, boyfriend and girlfriend thing, which is make believe boyfriend and girlfriend. It's like I'm trying to give you my stencil, and you're trying to give me your stencil to fit into, and it's like, okay, I know that this person likes this. So I'm going to try to be this. I'm going to try not to offend this person. I'm going to try not to show this side of me.
But
I'm going to try.
worry about that as a friend.
Exactly, as a friend. And it's like this forced character when you're trying to do relationships with the boyfriend and girlfriend thing.
It's like you don't have permission to be. You don't have clearance to be a mess. Like I don't have room to grow. I don't have room to make mistakes.
Because, and also as well, you don't have it because of the expectations of each other, but also as well, you don't have it because of the danger that comes along with it. Yeah. You know, with you just being yourself in that kind of boyfriend and girlfriend. It's like this. It's like, okay, I'm going to set a fire in a forest, right, to keep us warm. That's completely different than like setting off a wildfire is completely different than having a controlled campfire.
For sure.
Right. And a controlled campfire obviously can turn into a wildfire if it's no longer controlled. But like a controlled campfire is like doing relationship the right way, meaning we won't cross this boundary until we're ready to make this a forever thing. Right. And then that's the controlled fire. Right. Yeah. But that uncontrolled fire is that boyfriend and girlfriend thing that I'm going to try to fit into this stencil until I can't no more. And then I'll start showing my unhealthy areas are going to end up flaring up, and then it's going to turn into a wildfire, and your unhealthy areas are going to end up showing up, and it's going to turn into a wildfire. Yeah. And when it comes to friends, you'll always be able to get to know a person so much more as a friend than you will as a love interest, because we're not trying to impress each other. Yeah. And our guard is down, and we're going to show our authentic self way sooner and way more clear than what we would if we were love interest of each other. Yeah.
And it's the most beautiful thing. Like I said, like when you're my friend, like, you know, I love you up close. And relationships can be tricky, especially when you're in those developmental years and you aren't able to actually assess your thoughts. You're not able to like truly assess your decisions. And maybe it's because you're not ready to go back there, or you just don't have that level of maturity yet. Yeah. You know? And so it's like you just walking around, y'all sitting there triggering each other, and you literally have no idea why, thinking that you're helping somebody. Yeah. Right? Like I remember one of my sayings, and it still rings true today, is to live is to learn. To live is to love, and to love is to learn. Because for most of us, we are loving each other the wrong way. And that could be in a family dynamic, sometimes even a friendship dynamic.
We are loving each other the wrong way.
You know, like I'm trying to love you in a way that I receive love, but you might receive it in a completely different way. Yeah. So that's not effective at all. That's not loving you at all. And so, but many times, again, we just don't have that wherewithal to be able to identify that. And so it's like my intent is pure, right? But my character isn't developed.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. So good. Character versus personality. Character versus personality. Yeah. Character versus personality. We choose based off of character. Yeah. I mean, we choose based off of personality normally. But God identifies character. So talk to him for a second as I find this specific scripture that I want to find.
Okay, and one last thing that I want to caveat, and obviously this literally just came to me in this moment as he was reflecting on his past relationship, and I was reflecting on, you know, my past relationship when we asked the question, what were the behaviors in your previous relationships, and what did you learn? And obedience is the choice that changed the dynamic for the rest of our lives, right? So when he decided to become a man after God's own heart, and when I decided to become a woman after God's own heart, because of his obedience and my obedience, that like we will never know where our decisions led us, because we chose God's decision. And so I just truly hope that encourages somebody. It's never easy, but it's always worth it. Just because.
of the result that comes from it.
Yeah.
So
See?
this I got you, girl. I got you. So this scripture basically points out the character versus personality, right? So this is 1 Samuel 16:7. It says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart."
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, and that's so. I'm sorry, my honey, but even just like, can I read that one more time? Which one is it? This one. "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height." Right? There's so many women that I know that like have this whole list, like Pastor Michael Todd said, rip up the list.
Imagination.
Like seriously, rip up the list, y'all, because like his appearance, his height, his pay grade, none of that matters. None of that matters. That man could lose his job today. That man could anything can happen that can like distort his physical appearance. Like rip up the list. Rip up the list. And if God rejected him, that's it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it literally so in this,
or shall I say, if God rejected him for you.
And yeah, for sure. And here's the thing is that like it gave this appearance. I mean, it gave this description just because of something that was reverenced at that moment, at that time, right? Where he was addressing it. But whatever it is, whatever kind of beauty, and this doesn't just have to be like physical beauty. It could be that person's charisma. It can be how that person makes you feel. It can be whatever. And it says, the Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. And a lot of times we're quick to say, oh yeah, you know, but I love them. They have a good heart, you know, and it's like, what a lot of times we're only thing that we're really saying is, oh, they're not a villain. That's ultimately all what we're saying, where they're not a villain, because anybody that we experience that we feel like just isn't evil, we're going to say they have a good heart. So the idea that having a good heart, or by our standards, qualifies you for something, and it doesn't. It doesn't. Because we can't search the heart. We don't have that power to search the heart.
So you know how they say like there's a good idea and then there's a God idea? Like there's a good heart and then there's a God heart.
Yeah, that's good.
And like when you are in total submission to God, where I mean like you have zero control over your life, you will know if they have a God heart. You will know. You will know. And that is the thing that gravitated. That is the thing that made me say yes to you. Like it was your heart. Like I didn't have to guess. Even till today, like I don't have to guess. And then, you know, y'all will find out later, but it is this man's heart. That's where the grace come from. His heart.
No, I love you, dear. And even when he was talking about height, right? Like obviously we can get physical, but you know, getting more specific, he's like the height of that person's stature. You know, like people don't. It says, but the Lord said to Samuel, this is another translation of it, the Amplified version is, but the Lord said to Samuel, do not look at his appearance or at the height of his stature, because I have rejected him. For the Lord sees not as man sees, for man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. We don't have the ability to search a person's heart. No. We don't have that ability. The only ability we have is to seek after God's heart, that he may purify our heart, so that we can connect to other hearts. Seek after God's heart so that he can purify our heart, so that we can connect to other hearts. And there are some powers that we can possess that we don't have access to without direct access and connection with God. And it's not about just believing in God. It's about seeking after God's character, not his personality, right? Because a lot of us are friends with God's personality, or at least what we believe his personality is, but we don't actually seek his character. And to more so clarify that, we have a lot of people in our life that are our friends or hang out with us or connected to us because of our personality, but they don't really seek out the understanding of our heart, or who we really are at heart, I should say, you know. And that's a lot of times with our relationship with God. We don't seek out who he really is at heart. We seek out his personality, and we try to find what personality makes sense to us through whatever religion. But you know, God is God outside of like God is God without, if religion never existed. God is God if all religion ended right now. You know what I mean? Like Jesus is still Jesus, whether religion never existed in the first place. Yeah. And love is love, whether religion goes away and never comes back again. Yeah. You know, so yeah. What was a behavior that you had then that you don't have now? Like, let's say in your past, what do we need to call those? Because I mean, I know it's so easy to call them relationships, but I mean,
I think relationships are still fair because there was a level of relatability, a level of relativeness, and obviously
I like imagination, so I'm gonna try to find something connected to that because that's what it is, though. I mean, yeah, but that's what it actually is, though. Yeah, but if we're being honest, that's what it actually is.
Okay, but then that discredits like
but it doesn't.
Let me finish. That discredits like the lessons that you learned that help cultivate you into the person that you are.
I learn stuff from watching Disney Channel movies all the time, or Disney movies all the time. You know, there's lessons in those.
Most of us,
but it's still imagination.
Okay, sure, he got it.
It's not me having it. It's the truth.
Okay, it's imagination, y'all.
But is it not?
I mean, yeah, but there are still things that you learned and that like.
But is it imagination?
So what about the people who have successful marriages as a result of a relationship? I think us calling it an imaginary event would serve as a disservice to them.
Well, to answer that question, one, in comparison to the amount of people that gets into a relationship, there's very few people that actually get married, and then to the amount of people that actually get married, there's even less people who actually have a successful relationship.
Okay, so let's just call them learned lessons, right?
Learned lessons. And for the people who do have successful relationships that did come from that boyfriend and girlfriend space, is even a smaller pool as well when it comes to just having successful marriages altogether. So it's not discounting what they experienced before. It's just that playing, like, why is it that we feel like that? Okay, God, and not that I know you don't, but just in general, like we feel like, okay, well, God honors me as a boy, me being her boyfriend or her being my girlfriend. We believe that, even though that's nowhere to be found in whatever scripture, wherever you're believing, right? But we know that the government doesn't. We know that the government doesn't, but we will say, but well, I know the government doesn't acknowledge boyfriend and girlfriend.
So we'll just call them a series of learned lessons, because essentially that's what they are.
Okay, imagination.
There.
You know, no, but really, like
a series of learned lessons. That's what they are. Yeah,
for sure.
They've taught you something. They've taught the people around you something. Like I said, I know what I didn't want. I know what not to do.
Yeah, for sure. And at the end of the day, like what I'm not saying, and clearly we're not saying, is that there isn't any benefits in having experience in relationships. Right. But the benefit isn't greater
than the friendship.
But the benefit isn't greater than the risk.
Yeah.
Right? Because what we also get going through those is like heartbreak. Yeah. What we also get through those is betrayal. What we also get through those is one decision. Failed expectations. And think about how much time we use in relationships, like focusing on a relationship or another person. What else would we be doing during those days or those years of our life? What else would we be focusing on? What part of ourselves would we be learning or understanding? Yeah. You know, so what we sacrifice for that level of comfort or for that level of rushed relationship or rushed romance, I should say, it just isn't worth what we would get if we waited. Yeah. And
sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But to answer your question, my behavior in previous relationships was, I was naively and blindly looking for what I didn't have.
Like what you didn't grow up with.
Yeah, what I didn't grow up with. Like, I was looking for security. I was looking for validation. I was looking for edification.
Yeah.
can't necessarily say that I was looking for love because I couldn't even identify love. Like I didn't really know what that meant.
Yeah.
But I was really just looking for a place to be accepted.
Yeah.
And that stems from a multitude of things, like as we'll discuss later, you know. But essentially that's what I was looking for, and I just could not give what I did not have. And so, like I said, you know, hurt people, or if you are two people that are looking to feel what you didn't have, like it's the blind leading the blind, you know. And so what I'm looking for, you know, another person is probably looking for the same thing, but we sitting here trying to give each other something that we never got.
Yeah. And you know what that even makes me think about, like, even when you were like, you know, we don't want to discount the lessons or the experiences that we had throughout our previous relationships. And it just makes me think, and it's like, man, but like there's been times where I had conversations during, like, back then, like when I was done dealing with a person, and the only way that they viewed me was as their ex-boyfriend or whatever. And for me, it was like, well, I'm viewing you as a person that like essentially I'm in my mind at the time, a friend, you know, but in their mind, it was very romantically transactional, you know? So it was like, nah, like, well,
because a friend wouldn't treat me this way. A friend wouldn't, you know, and I can relate, and maybe it could just be a woman thing, because that's one thing that was a non-negotiable for me. I said I will never become friends with my exes because we never had a friendship.
Yeah, I was about to say, however, I can understand that for sure, but I didn't, and I can even agree with that. However, in my mind at the time, I was under the impression that we were friends, you know, like, so when they make those kind of statements in different ways, it was like, like, oh wow, like you didn't view this the same way, you know, or even friends that I thought was friends that ended up really wanted a romantic relationship with me, but I didn't engage. I didn't go further in that romantic relationship with them. And then we were no longer friends because that access, they didn't have that romantic access.
That's the worst.
So it's like, well, none of it is really real on multiple levels because we wasn't even really friends. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, I think the basis of the friendship could be there. However, it's just like you have nothing to hide as a friend. So it could be nothing for somebody to be like, whoa, like I think I might like you more than just what I see, because I'm not getting a facade. I'm not getting a representative. I'm not getting a persona. I'm getting you.
Yeah,
and that could be foreign to some people. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, for sure. But even with the foreign though, I mean, I do understand. I mean, you're definitely, I mean, I understand. I mean, the way that you're putting it, like trying to be like sensitive
because
to
from
people.
There, if you actually were a friend, like all guy had to do was put the stamp of approval and say this your person, and bada boom, bada bam. But if it wasn't,
for sure. However though, that's why. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're saying the same thing. You're just softening it.
Maybe. This is how our conversation goes a lot, guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
maybe because we both
sure.
experienced that, and it sucks. Like, you know, somebody that you probably truly viewed as a friend,
and it's not real, and then it makes it not real.
And then it does make it not real, because then you do start questioning things like, okay, like, were you my friend all along? You know what I'm saying? And I really think it's not even the fact that they may have, you know, been so honest and, you know, revealed that, hey, like, I would like something more to come from this, but the fact that you just got cut off. You know, after it was just
you didn't give
I
it,
don't feel the same
or
way.
treated differently. Got treated differently after.
It was just like, I'm sorry, but I don't feel the same way. And I recall it was, well, if I can't have you how I want you, then I can't be your friend at all. And I'm like, well, what kind of foolishness is that?
Or what kind of friend was that in the first place? So it was like, maybe we both were in our imagination. Me thinking that we were more friends than what we were, closer than what we were, and you thinking that we were on the same page with whatever romance that you wanted.
Again, a series of learned lessons, because friendships are relationships too, just not romantic. So, you know, but that's life, a series of learned lessons.
Yeah, I say, you know, I mean, we say we're here. No, because I'm not here to soften it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you guys like at the end of the day, like that heartbreak, the heartbreak's not going to be softened. The betrayal, the letdown's not going to be softened.
For sure.
You
for
know,
sure.
so why soften the description of the reality of it?
I mean, maybe this is just, again, the nurturing, side of me.
For sure. And I love that side of you.
Yeah. And this is how our conversation goes a lot. But this was really great. Yeah. So character versus personality. Like,
For sure.
character is your who and personality is your what. And your character should remain true. It can evolve, and it should evolve from who you are as an individual to who you are in Christ, right? You should not be able to recognize yourself once you are, reborn. And obviously your personality, that's something that can change over time, but your character, that should remain consistent. And I believe, to some degree, my character has remained consistent. It's just that it's only intensive. The intensity has grown.
Evolving.
Sure.
Evolving.
Yeah.
Evolving, for sure. Yeah. And, as we go down this journey, we're going to continue to unpack this friend and fiance thing, and basically just finding more ways to do relationship in a more healthy manner.
Yeah.
And
because longevity is the goal, y'all. Like, if you got a faulty foundation, off of just, the aesthetics, desire
and comfort.
pleasures.
Yeah. Desire, comfort, pleasure.
There is no sustainability.
Yeah, for sure. So, we're here to encourage you.
Yeah.
In finding your forever through friendship.
Y'all, it's the best.
Yeah, such as we
have.
have.
My dog. I be having a whole lot of epiphanies, because it's like one, I be like, wow, I'm really married, and two, like, you don't get on my nerves. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Like, we whole life just be chilling, and sometimes I'll aggravate him just because it's just like,
yeah, she does. Not a lot.
Just because I be wanting to spend time. You see. Anyway, y'all, that was today's episode, character versus personality. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe, like, comment, and share.
Yeah, please do. Until next time, beautiful people.
Yes.
Much, much, much love.